you might be able to improve on even better if, and any changes that you might think you could make to them. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, I've kind of given you the example. But house, I think house, what you put in that house is entirely up to you. Because my curtains and my sofa will be different to the ones that you put in there. So it's a session, but it's a session that you can make your own.
Can I just ask?
Yes, of course. Any questions?
Very well behaved those kids, but grassroots, I think most of you agree.
Yeah.
You get one who is a nightmare. How do you normally deal with them?
I think when you talk about dealing with them, you got to switch the terminology a little bit, because we're always talking about managing behaviour. So if we thought about trying to develop behaviour, so one of the things that I did there today was I said to them that good listeners make what? Great learners.
Yeah.
Because they make great learners, so they know now that good listeners make great learners. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you nail that little part, and you feed that seed to them what good listeners make. Then they start listening. That's great learner. And then slowly, once you've fed them that one, you go, do you know what great learners make? Super footballers. Because all the best footballers are good learners. And it's like using those strategies and building on those strategies to develop behaviour. Little things like, thank you very much for bringing the clothes in. And well done, that was really good. And it's all those little reinforcements that you've got to do. And often, especially when we're dealing with, and sometimes it happens, discrimination on the football pitch, regardless what age it is, I think the key thing to think about is how you then challenge that player. So usually you challenge the player by saying, why did you say that? Think about asking the player, how did the other player feel when you said that? How do you think he felt? And then you're challenging his behaviour. So that's really, really important that you're questioning and how you question. But that's a skill that will come in time, but more importantly, you've got to know the players. You have to know how they tick and how they work. And if you know how they tick and how they work, then you'll know the ones that you can go in and speak to directly, others that you might have to pull to one side, others that you might have to work in a group situation.
Sorry, just on that, the way that we stereotypically and culturally manage behaviour is by shouting at people. Strip it. You know what, if you've been naughty, I'm just going to completely ignore you. As long as you're not causing me safety issues, I'm just going to ignore you and I'm going to focus on you. Because you are fantastic. And as soon as you're off doing something, you come here, let's have a little chat. And the tone of your voice and how we play with that and how we use that to manage behaviour is a massive skill. Just good.
It's a really, really good point, because when you think about most of the reasons why children are doing what they're doing and playing up is because they just want to seek your attention. So you know those attention seekers we've all got them, okay? The idea, right, is just that if you want my attention, then start doing the good things and you'll get my attention. So the good listeners are going to be the great learners who are going to get my attention. The players that did the right things were the ones that got the praise and the positive praise. And those who didn't will realise quickly that the only way they can get the praise of the coach is by doing the right thing. So it's a cracking point as well. Just any thoughts on the session itself? Anything? Just throw stuff at it.
Like tempo, you know, short, snappy, like you record the kids. That was really good. Flowed really nicely as well.
Right, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other thoughts? Anything that you think? Oh, you know what? I could maybe flip that or do that slightly differently. Or maybe I might change that next time. Or is that something you want to reflect on a little bit?
I was probably good where you actually given the big groups, given the balls, and actually put down their commonalities.
Absolutely. I think, you know, when we're talking about working in a model, and I'll mention that you'll see some of the points that I've made on the slides, which will reinforce some of the stuff that I did out there as well. I think commonalities are important. I think we've got enough things that divide us. You know, those players that come from different communities might be different, but they are most certainly equal, and that's the most important thing that we've got. That's the point.
So have you do with Charlton has got something about him? He's quite reserved and quiet. And you can see that he's got the ability, but he's quite reserved on the pitch because he communicates with the coach or the players, but behind him there's skill.
Okay, so let's run through the future player. You'll have a look at the social corner in particular, okay, and how we work and build relationships within that social corner. So somebody like that could be the player that we could play that, you know, we had that little silent football game. We could have a silent football game, okay, but you can pick one player in each team that's the leader, he's the only person who can talk. If it's that quiet one, he's the leader. He pushes the line up, he tells them what to do, no one else can talk in the game. Just watch how that plays out. And slowly you build his confidence, build his confidence. But I think also when you break them up into group discussions, with someone who's quite reserved, you wouldn't want a pounce, you know, in classic teacher style, you know, you pose a question and then you pounce on someone, you pause it first. In that case, right, what you do is you facilitate them into a pairing, you listen to the discussion, and then that one who's quite reserved might have some really good information that we would only want to share with a pair as opposed to a group or a bigger group, and then you'll turn around and go, hey Mark, that was a great point. You okay, Mark, if I shared that with the group? Mark just said that in possession, if we can attack the space with pace, that'd be great. Wow. Mark actually does, number one, Mark's got time, number two, Mark's got some information he can share. So it's like building that confidence, it takes time. So I'm just going to run through, the first one is who we are. I had this activity about what is your DNA as individuals, and what makes you who you are as a coach and as a person. So when you self-reflect a little bit and you think about the values that you have as an individual, and then the things that impact you as an individual, but more importantly, also, actually, are the reason why you behave the way you behave. When you start thinking about that, that's where your who we are is, who you are. Because ultimately, every session that you put on, I'm a grateful, I come from a background, okay, where my dad always told me that I had to be honest, I had to have integrity and a little bit of credibility as well. So it's really, really important for me, okay, that was essential. That was something that he kind of always used to say to me, do the right thing all the time. So as I grow up, that even comes through in my players, because I'll say to them, I want honesty. I want honesty on the football pitch, and I want honesty off the football pitch as well. So how does that play out? So every session that you do, you mention your values. You know, I want you to be honest, fair. You want to be fair. You know, some of the stuff that I did today, good listeners make great memories, and all the rest of it. And then that's the person who you are. So I really want you to think about who you are. What makes you? What are your anchors? Is it your family? Is it your friends? Have you got certain values and beliefs? Don't impose them on players. Align those with the values that they have. And if you have an aligned value with the players as well, then what you're going to find, okay, is you become a team, and then it's a vision that you all work towards. So that who we are is important and what you are as a person. I kind of mentioned that. I want to go through I don't want to go through the technical aspects of how you play, but I just do want to mention that today I did an in-possession practice. And I don't know whether you can remember or not, at some point in time I asked them to stay on the ball and master the ball. How did I manage that within the practice anyway?
You have to go at the ball, you have to go between two lines before you can
Loved it.
play.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons staying on the ball. Any other way that I made them stay on the ball? Verbally, yeah, by doing what? Well, what was the rules and rewards that I was?
When they had the ball, you said you've got to dribble, you've got to dribble.
Yeah, you've got to keep the ball. You've got to beat a person. You're the dribblers, you're the passers. Stay on the ball, master the ball. So that was my key for in particular the dribblers. And then I went, do you remember the 1 or 4 or more? So you either had to pass early, recognise when to pass early, or if you had it for more than one touch, how many touches did you? You had to take 4 or more, which forced them to do what? Stay on the ball. And then when you think about exciting with the ball, you think about the dribblers again. Do you remember when we had a little circle game and I said you've got to be as creative as you want now? Go and beat players, show me a trick. What happened when someone did show me a really good trick? What did I do?
Called it out,
Yeah. At what point in time did I stop the activity on a technical when they didn't get it right? At what point in time did I do that? Can anyone remember me ever stopping the activity when they got it wrong? No. So those days of you know, but there were times when I intervened, but I intervened 1v1. So I went in, hey, what did you see? Goalkeeper, kick the ball long. Why did you want to kick it long? I wanted to get it up the field. Did it go to them? No, it went to the opposition. What else could you do? Oh, I could throw it. Okay, to who? Why? What else could you do? And I broke it down, the questioning, until he got to the point where he said, actually I can put it down because there's space in front of me and then I can attack the space. Oh, great, if you attack the space, what are you going to draw? The players. And then as soon as they come, pop it. He did it. In nearly kind of got caught, but he did it. So that's really important. So the passing came with the connecting and combining creatively with others as well. So now you need to connect and combine because you've got to play it. If I play it to you, I want it back because I can't score until I give it back. And the reward was the amount of passes you got equaled the goal that you scored, or the amount of dribbles you got equaled the goal that you scored. So a little bit about on the future player, okay, because I've kind of touched on it about the four-corner model, but I'm just going to, and I know we mentioned it, so there's the technical tactical corner, the physical corner, the psychological corner, the social corner as well. So we kind of just broke that down a little bit. I'm not going to run into it because I promised you a quarter past, and I promise you I'll get you out for a quarter past. But there are some of the technical areas that you're looking at from the technical perspective, okay? The receiving skills, turning, travelling with the ball, and so on. That physical corner, you see out there, when we talk about talent identification in particular, we had some really physically strong players out there, but we also had some very resilient players out there. We had the lad in the grey tracksuit bottoms playing against the big fella, okay, but I tell you what, he was determined and he was persevering and he never gave up. And that's a key quality when it comes to that psychological corner. So we kind of, we call it the C's really, the confidence, the creativity, concentration, communication, control, and commitment. And again, right, if you go, and I'm going to give you the DNA website, have a look at the DNA website and it breaks these down into a little bit more. And then just on your social, look at them. Behaviour, relationships, independence, teamwork, accountability, reflectiveness. These are all some of the things that you want to ensure that often we kind of get hooked up on the left side of the model and we forget that the right side of the model is absolutely critical. If we can't work with them in the psychological and social corner, we're not going to create footballers. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, at some point in time, they're going to be tested. And they're going to have setbacks. And when they have them setbacks, they've got to be strong enough to overcome them. And the way you do that is by developing them in those key areas as well. On the how we coach, there were some of the coaching fundamentals. I mean, some of the things that using a positive, and this would be me looking at my session now. So was I positive, enthusiastic? Were they game realistic? Did I use games in training whenever? Develop the practices that enable them to make lots of decisions? When were they making the decisions?
When you give them the option if they want to pass it first time or fourth.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you know when they went and they took two instead of more than, they knew. The lad in the corner, I went up to him, how many touches? I took more than two, so how many should you take? 4. So keep it. And then he went, oh, just keep it. It doesn't matter, you're in an area. So you know, we talk about those 3 thirds. And the first third of the pitch, what would we usually call that, where our goalkeeper is? Called the defensive third. So what's the next part? The midfield third. And the final?
Forward.
You see that? Yeah, because that's where dreams come true. Go and enjoy yourself. Go and enjoy yourself. Go out there, be who you want, do what you want, okay, because you've got 2 banks or 3 banks behind you that will look after you. So think about that. So again, right, if you're looking at your own DNA, think what one, did you think 70% ball runs? And Kyle, what do you reckon? 70%?
Pretty close.
You need to get at least 70% if you can. Aim to get 70% ball runs. So you know that's sitting and saying, but I was doing a lot of exemplar stuff around Isa and Adil and others, and I was promoting images that people that they actually resonated with, that they connected with, people that they can go, if they can do it, I can do it. He's Pakistani, he's Punjabi, he's a Muslim, he can still play. That's critical that we have those positive role models out there. Finally, on the how we support, I've just put a couple of slides up there. Something that I'd like you to think about, and what does that look like? Use of positive value images. Using your technology, iPhones, iPads, show them as well. I talked a little bit about how you can identify and challenge discrimination by asking them, you know, those pertinent questions around how do people feel when you do something like that? When you make a statement like that, not why did you do it? How did you make that other person feel? So it's really important. And I talked a lot about that, celebrating the commonalities as well. And then finally, values around sharing, tolerance and respect, which are really they're your three key values. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. We went through that, and I wanted you to observe a few things, which hopefully you've seen some of those key areas around observation, coaching fundamentals, and the England DNA key message session. That's my session. Okay. You lost the psychological. I'll send that to you, Kurt, because for some reason I'm cutting the coaching out of it. I'll make sure that you get.
I'll forward it on if you make sure you got your email.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got all my coaching points, and that for some bizarre reason came out in font 2.5. So good luck to try and work that one out. But I'll get that sorted for you. That was the game. So it was a 3-2-1, and then I split it into thirds. Why did I split it into thirds? Do you think? And lock them in further on. Yeah, there was a little bit of swarming going on, wasn't there? And I just wanted, in the game, in the end, they went. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, they got the idea. So here's my challenge to you. Create your own DNA, unique to you and your club. That's my challenge to you. That's the website that I'd like you to reference, and I'd like to signpost to you, which is the www.englanddna.com. Have a look at how we do it, but more importantly, how can you make it fit to you? Because that's the key. So, you know, who you are, how you play as a team, what do your players look like, who are they, what's the makeup of them, how do you coach, what does that look like? Look at the coaching fundamentals and how you support as well. So, are you better informed than when we first started? So go on then, there's your markers. It was out of 10. What did you have? And what do you have now? Mark yourself out of 10. I do hope there's no decrease. If there is, this whole thing goes on. That's what they Good. Did we? Do you feel we're a little bit wiser?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Very good. Thank you.
Good stuff. So what were the words on the post-it? So it weren't post-it, no, it was on the card. So what did you have there?
Delivery.
Delivery. Something.
So like, for example, even just getting them to do one knee when you were talking,
Yeah.
just like so they're not fidgeting, they're all doing it. Brilliant.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sid, did you have anything?
No.